This is CBS2 News at 5 p.m.
They were under the impression that if you didn't submit to this, you couldn't wrestle.
A huge payout after a wrestling coach molested more than 24 teenage boys. A former Torrance High School wrestling coach used a ruse to abuse the boys for years.
He's now in prison, and the school district just announced it's paying out $31 million in a settlement to the victims. And
CBS 2's Dave Lopez is live in downtown L.A. with more on this sex abuse settlement. Dave?
Pat, downtown L.A., because that's where the settlement was reached after a lot of negotiations. They were ready to go to trial on this, which would have meant that many of these victims would have had to testify all over again. Many of them are now in college, but that's not going to happen. All of this, the result of what one coach did over a period of years.
They're young, impressionable children and new in high school and want to fit in.
Tom Snyder, the former boys wrestling coach at Torrance High School, is already serving time behind bars for molesting 25 of his wrestlers, most of them ninth graders. And today, his actions have cost the Torrance School District $31 million in a settlement.
This settlement will bring finality. We were set for trial.
A civil trial that would have forced many of these victims to testify yet again. Snyder has already been convicted in criminal courts, where many of these victims, now young men, testified. He was sentenced to 64 years in state prison. And much of the $31 million, I am told, will be covered by insurance that the district carries. And a judge will oversee how that money will be divided among the 25 victims and their families.
Honestly, if I can kill him myself, but that wouldn't work. You ruined my son's life.
Comments from some of the parents when he was sentenced in October of 2016. The parents didn't want to go on camera back then, nor today, and neither did any of the victims. I was told by the attorneys, quote, they just don't want to talk about it. Snyder said that all he was conducting were skin tests on his athletes. But the evidence showed this. He would take the boys individually into a room on campus, make them strip naked, and then he would fondle them. And this went on for years.
They were under the impression that if you didn't submit to this, you couldn't wrestle.
This from the Torrance School District. We have continually reviewed our efforts to enhance student safety and are committed to continuing our efforts. Our priority has been to resolve these cases without the need for potentially painful litigation for these families. Legally, the case is over, and the $31 million will be distributed within 2 months. Again, insurance will take care of most of it. It's a record settlement for the school district of Torrance. And how did this all unravel? Well, I was told it was during the 2013 season. One of the Torrance wrestlers was talking to someone on the opposing team and casual conversation. Hey, does your coach make you go through a skin test? He said, what's a skin test? When it was described to him, he said, we don't do that. Then it started to unravel. Back to the studio.
All right, thank you, Dave. And breaking news from Lake Forest, where a construction worker was killed when a trench collapsed. This is at Glen Ranch Road and Viejo Ridge Drive. Fire crews got a report of a trapped worker, but when they got to the site, they realized someone had died in that trench, and they are now working to recover the body.
The families of 3 Korean Americans held in North Korea could be reunited with their loved ones as early as tomorrow.
Yes, the Trump administration announced the release of the men this morning. CBS 2 political reporter Dave Ryan is here now with more on their release and what it means for that upcoming North Korean-U.S. summit.
It certainly sets the table for the summit, no question about that. And right now, those men are in the air on their way back home, actually. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo spent 12.5 hours in Pyongyang. He met with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un and secured the detainees' release. The White House says all 3 men were able to walk onto Pompeo's plane without assistance. They flew to Japan, where the detainees boarded a different plane. And now this is their plane taking off from Anchorage, Alaska. This was just a few minutes ago. It stopped there to refuel. Now it's en route to Joint Base Andrews. Once again, a plane carrying 3 Korean Americans who were held in North Korean prison is expected to arrive at Joint Base Andrews about 11 p.m. tonight, L.A. time. President Trump says he'll be there to welcome the former detainees home.
It will be, I think, a very special time. Nobody thought this was going to happen.
Officials say the Americans, a businessman and 2 teachers, appeared to be in good health. Kim Dong-chul had been held since October 2015. Tony Kim and Kim Hak-song since last spring. Tony Kim is from Riverside and his family still lives there. He graduated from UC Riverside. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo was on the ground in North Korea for about 13 hours, negotiating their release and finalizing the upcoming summit between Mr. Trump and Kim Jong-un. The White House is expected to announce the details of the summit later this week, and the State Department says the meeting will last one day, but could go longer if needed.
Both sides want to negotiate a deal. I think it's going to be a very successful deal.
But on the other hand, the president said, trying to moderate expectations.
Everything can be scuttled. Everything can be scuttled. Doesn't mean a lot of things can happen. A lot of good things can happen. A lot of bad things can happen. But I think we have a really good chance to make a great deal for the world.
Republicans called the communist dictator's gesture a good first step.
Great news. It can only be viewed as great news.
Burbank Democrat Adam Schiff tweeted, very pleased to hear of the release of 3 Americans from North Korea. The North Korean regime has long used hostage-taking to gain leverage over the United States. I hope and pray these will be the last Americans to face detention or torture in North Korea. Now, the freed Americans expressed their deep appreciation to the United States government, President Trump, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, and the people of the United States for bringing them home. Suzanne, back to you.
Thank you, Dave. Our coverage continues at 6. We're live in the Inland Empire, in the neighborhood where the family of just released hostage Tony Kim lives. That's ahead on CBS2 News at 6.
Well, we have new details about the case of a woman murdered in a South Bay parking lot. Authorities have revealed they don't believe the stabbing death of Susan Leeds was a random act. The 66-year-old was killed in the parking lot of the Promenade on the Peninsula Mall last Thursday. Investigators took a person of interest into custody the next morning, but he has since been released.
A woman claims she was sexually assaulted inside the home of singer Chris Brown. Attorney Gloria Allred filed a lawsuit today on behalf of her client, who doesn't want her identity known. The lawsuit claims when the alleged victim was at Brown's house for a party, one of his friends, rapper Lowell Grissom, raped her. She said her phone was taken away so she couldn't call for help.
She wants justice for herself, but she also wants to warn other young women about the potential danger to themselves if they have their phone taken away and if they go to Chris Brown's house.
No response today from Grissom or Brown, seen here in a court appearance for a different case.
A difference of opinion on use of force in a barricade situation that left a suspect dead last year in Sunland. The LA Police Commission found 12 officers violated department policy when an officer fired on the suspect from a helicopter.
Last May's incident is the first time an LAPD officer used the tactic. Chief Charlie Beck's report to the commission found the shooting reasonable. The commission disagreed. They did, however, find 13th officer acted within policy.
The city of LA announced it's suing 8 people as they crack down on fake and counterfeit drugs. These are just some of the more than 400,000 doses of illicit pharmaceuticals that a task force confiscated. The drugs include Viagra, Xanax, antibiotics, and almost any kind of drug you can think of. The city attorney says they contain harmful ingredients or doses. The 8 people sued were allegedly selling them in stores, houses, and off the street.
The sellers of these pharmaceuticals are not, we allege, interested in the patient. They're interested in making a profit.
The task force targeted 22 locations, including Arizona. The city attorney says this is one of the largest multi-agency crackdowns on illegal drugs in the nation's history.
If we don't get it, shut it down!
It's day 3 of a statewide strike by UC medical service workers, and still no deal. More than 25,000 workers walked the picket lines a final day. They want higher pay and staffing levels. The union, AFS-CME, represents everyone from respiratory therapists to custodians and cooks. The UC system offer includes a 3% annual raise for 4 years. The union wants 6. Negotiations are ongoing. Workers are prepared for more walkouts.
The hope that the university understands that, they need to address these situations.
Is there the possibility of more strikes?
Yes. In the past, we've had to do multiple strikes.
Nurses across the state marched in solidarity with their coworkers.
Senators today grill President Trump's nominee to replace Mike Pompeo as head of the CIA. Some senators, including California's Kamala Harris, have criticized Gina Haspel for being involved in CIA interrogation tactics like waterboarding after 9/11. Haspel defended the CIA's use of enhanced interrogation techniques in the days following 9/11, saying it was legal at the time.
Do you believe in hindsight that those techniques were immoral?
Senator, what I believe sitting here today is that I support the higher moral standard we have decided to hold ourselves to.
Can you please answer the question?
Senator, I think I've answered the question.
No, you've not.
When I speak to the Senate Intelligence Committee could vote on her nomination as early as next week.
A former Fox News anchor is getting behind a new bill that she says will protect workers and boost the Me Too movement. Gretchen Carlson won a $20 million settlement after she accused Fox News CEO Roger Ailes of sexual harassment. Now she's supporting AB 3080, which would make it illegal for businesses to force employees into arbitration. Some companies require job candidates to agree to arbitration for any future disputes as a condition of being hired. Carlson says forced arbitration lets harassers stay on the job while victims get pushed out. The California Chamber of Commerce calls the bill a job killer that will open businesses to frivolous lawsuits.
NBC wraps up its internal investigation following the firing of Today host Matt Lauer.
What the review revealed about the scandal.
Plus more problems for Hawaii as new evacuations are ordered when new vents open up.
Also a carjacking. A young girl tries to escape while her father watches in horror. What happened? Plus.
From how you use electric cleansing brushes to certain types of mascara, you could be hurting yourself in the name of beauty. What you need to know, coming up.
Apparently, I haven't hurt myself enough. Take a look at that mug. Coming up was a day today, wasn't it? We'll see if we can duplicate it for tomorrow. The weather's on the way.